Got a little bit of a cold today, so bear with me. I'm talking with a younger trader a couple days a week about his results and just some things to share with everybody else. He's really got that ambitious, like, overdoer type personality, which I have a lot of that too. And it's not a critical thing, it's a good thing. It's like just always wanting to do everything you can to succeed, like breathing techniques, cold water plunges, working out, journaling everything, just like over the top, constantly working on it to get better. And I think a couple things with that. First of all, you can't fight who you are, so it's not wrong to do that. But a lot of the success, the best success, comes from just kind of finding some space and some silence from that. And then all of a sudden it just becomes easier to see stuff. And it's really hard to do, though, because you don't want to consciously just not work when you have the time to work or when you're really excited to work. So it's the truth, but it doesn't mean it's easy to do. It's a weird thing. I mean, it's always been a struggle for me, but I've always seen it work again and again. It's kind of like vacation and a clear head. When you come back, you do better. Or if you get really beat up and you're just so sick of it that you can't even, the pain is so great, you don't want to look at it. And then after you come out of that, you tend to do well because you have that kind of blankness to you and the creativity comes back. But one thing I told him is he was just reviewing his trades every day, so detailed, like all these, like grading every trade and stuff. And I told him, you will have this bigger perspective of who you want to be, but you're judging yourself so much every day. Look at the week like a football game or basketball game where there's 4 quarters, and think about it that way. Like maybe the first quarter didn't go very well, but by the end of the game, you're really happy with how you turned around and played. And that could be kind of metaphor for the week. So instead of judging and riding the wave up and down during the day, look at it for the whole week, even if you're trading every day. Like I'm personally trying to get my time frame a lot longer. Like eventually I hope I'm holding stuff for years. And I still do trades when it's really busy, but I'm looking at a longer, I want to extend. But I started off really short term. I think this is a path a lot of people take. I'm going on another point right now. I'll come back to the first one, but you start off, you don't have any money. You trade leverage products. You try to build up money, and you work into swing trading maybe because you don't want to be day trading because it's stressful, and you get older and you don't want to do it as much unless it's really busy. And then, as you go on, you extend your time frame because there's more scale, you have more money to use, and it's less stressful, and you can have, make bigger pieces of money, bigger pieces of, I don't know if pieces is the right word, but bigger, I don't know, just, it's like a cheesy coaster I have on my desk. It's like do more or do less and receive a greater impact or something like that. I don't even know what the quote is, but something to that extent. And you realize that you have all these skills that you've developed on how to enter something. Like a lot of times a longer term trade is a really good entry in a short term trade. And then you start figuring out the components of what makes something longer successful. And you study that just like you studied the shorter term. And all of a sudden you start developing skills to lengthen your time frame. And I'm doing it with a different account with smaller size to learn and to grow into it. And I'm talking with people who are more oriented that way. And it's starting to pull me that way. So that's great. And that's something I'm working on. So back to this guy. So I told him, it's like, why don't you wait for the end of the week to go over your trades? Like take little notes each day. And then at the end of the week, be like, okay, how did the week go? Like, and look at it like in a full game, like a 4-quarter game, even though it's 5 days in a week or whatever. And I think he's finding a lot of peace with that. It's like, oh man, I don't have the pressure of having to review every day. I can look at the whole week and I can appreciate like the ups and downs during the week, and I can appreciate like how I handled them and start to see yourself from a different angle than this worker, this widget maker every day who's producing trades. Nobody wants to feel that way and be seen that way. But then when you're trying to work hard and chart your results, you end up being that way. And that's just one thing that I think can be really helpful to somebody who is kind of taking on that work as hard as you can approach. And this is advice that I wish I would have had for myself. Oh, excuse me. I wish I would have had for myself when I was in my 20s, because I'm 44 now and I'm still learning it, but I've gotten a lot better. And it's nice to talk to him and just be like, hey, just do the week. Like, don't worry about it. Just look at the whole week and try to get better. And he was also developing these new tools and was away for the day or something. And it all would have worked really well. And it was like, oh, I have all this stuff and it would have worked and I wasn't there. And I was just like, you know what? Look at the next 100 trades or next 1,000 trades. Don't worry about the one day, the one trade. It doesn't matter. Worry about getting the whole big ship pointed the right way, and then the trades will start. Then the process is right, and the trades start coming again and again. There's always another trade, and then you'll figure it out, and you'll feel really good about it because your process is figured out already because you're looking at it that way, and you don't have to worry about one trade. I remember a guy that I used to sit by who was really successful. And he used to always say, like, there's a certain amount of trades in your life, whatever the number is, 30,000, 10,000. And at one point he was like, I think I've done like 75% of my trades. You could just tell that like he's going to get close to the end. And that doesn't mean that you're done trading. It means that some of the short-term stuff its days are numbered and you lengthen your time frame. And for him, I think he ended up moving on to a different business. He was really successful though. And maybe he trades, I haven't kept up with him as much recently, but I have some of that going on too, bouncing back to that part of the conversation again. I've had some of that going on where I think I've done most of the trades in my life, but I also feel like I'm just getting started and the best days are going to be in front of me, but it's going to be different than it was back in my 20s and 30s with so much of the short-term stuff. It's going to be extended, and that's just playing the game different for a challenge, for excitement, and for the fact that I think there's more potential there for me as I kind of have a family, and I'm just excited to take that on. And then the last thing that this guy that I picked up from him was, so it was like the charting the trades every day, which you can do, but review at the end of the week more, and then worrying about missing a day and like missing something. And the other thing is he was getting excited about a new thing that he's working on, some kind of machine learning and all this stuff. And he was saying that it works in all these markets. So he's trading a lot of these markets. And we were talking about how it might be better just to trade one market. Just make it simple, trade one market. And then from there, spread yourself out from there. Just do one. Make it really simple. Make everything simple. That's something I've learned from a friend and a mentor that has been trading a little longer than me. He's like mid 30 years in the business or something. And he's always saying, like, keep it really simple. Just make it dumbass simple. And some of my best trades, best ideas are always like, just so simple. Like they work from the sentiment, the fundamentals, the technicals. It's all there. I can explain it to somebody who doesn't know that much about the market. It feels really good to have that simplicity in your life and that clean approach. And I think you can do that when you have some of these perspectives that we're talking about on today on this podcast. And if you catch yourself in any of these frantic kind of things that you're going to miss stuff or you have to review everything, and just take it like that. Take it, like, do your review and do all your stuff like you want to be seen. Like you don't want to be seen as a gopher doing as many trades as you can every day. Don't review it that way. So I think that can be pretty helpful. At least it was for me, for my personality, which can be similar to his, especially when I was younger. When you get older, you smooth out a little bit. Everybody does, but I related a lot to what he was saying, and those things were helpful to me. Hopefully it helps somebody else.